Welcome back to this week's episode of Unlocked. And obviously I have a lot of female followers. I want to say it's like 85 to 87% of my following is female. And right now, America is in such a place of wanting to be healthy and take all the trash ingredients out of our food. And because of that, I have one of my, now I get to say, good friends, Kristen Gaffney on. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you.
No, thank you.
Like, I'm already so impressed. You impress me every time I hang out with you.
I love you. We've gotten to do some fun stuff. Like we were just in DC and that was so much fun.
Well, we kind of did speed dating. And we're in. we did.
It's like, all right, well, now we're traveling together.
Yeah.
But you also, too, people would recognize you, too, somewhat from the podcast world.
Yes. I used to have my own podcast with Dear Media. It was called Barely Filtered.
Okay.
And that was so much fun. It was so fun. It was based in LA. And I think my co-host and I, who's still one of my very best friends, just want to make that clear, we're just different parts of our lives. I was ready to move and go into a new chapter of just kind of slowing down with my family. And then she was in the middle of the divorce. She's starting to date again. She's really into like the woohoo astrology. And I'm like just really focused on the health and politics and just how can I make this world a better place for my kids? Not to say she's not, but just totally different topics of conversation and different audiences.
Two totally different places of life too. It's really tough.
Yeah. And there's an audience for her and there's an audience for me. I think those are just two different audiences.
Yes, without a doubt.
But still her biggest fan, biggest listener. Promise, Aurora.
You moved from LA to Nashville when?
June 6th was the day.
That is crazy.
So still kind of new here.
So what, a little bit over a year ago?
6 months ago. Come on, Savannah.
Oh, yeah, y'all. Okay. It feels like you've been here longer than that, though. I thought you meant like last year.
No, it feels like it. It definitely feels like it. We really hit the ground running when we got here.
And y'all made like such a little family here with friends in such short time.
I know. Well, I mean, we had been visiting back and forth for a while because it was really important. Like if I'm going to pick up my family, move from family, take them away from school and their friends, it had to be the right decision. So we had traveled here, I think 4 times over the course of 2023, 2024. Mm-hmm. So over that time, you start to see familiar faces or you connect over Instagram, you meet in real life. You're like, hey, you're not a psychopath. I'm not a psychopath. I kind of like you. And so, and then I've had friends that just, connect me to more friends. And I think that's just true Southern hospitality. People genuinely want to help you here. It's incredible.
Yes. Now, granted, you still have some bad apples every now and then.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about Nashville is I say it's like big city, small town.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone, which can be really good or really bad. But you do meet genuine good people. Yeah. What would you say was like your sign when you were traveling here that was there something in particular that happened that you were like, all right, we're supposed to do this? Yeah.
Well, first of all, there's this feeling of, I didn't realize how intense and stressed I was because I was always very chill and I never, compared to other high stress people in California, was very much hustle and bustle, go, go, go.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how stressed I was until I came here. And literally how I would describe it is like my shoulders were tense and then they just relaxed and my soul relaxed. And one of the times we visited was last Christmas and just seeing, and it's literally like a Hallmark movie here. It's so beautiful.
Oh, especially during Christmas.
Oh my gosh. And I noticed specifically the young girls looked their age. And that wasn't the case where I came from. I mean, everyone was trying to look older. Girls were getting lip injections at 15 and getting their boobs done and wearing, provocative clothing and just these discussions. And I just looked at them. I'm like, oh my gosh, you look 15. You look like fresh baby. And it was so sweet. And I also noticed when we went out to eat, I didn't see any kids on phones, no kids on iPads, and it was beautiful. And I just think there's really this love around family here where it's like, you only have 2 kids? Why don't you have 4 like me? What church do you go to? It's really embraced. And I think, especially as a woman, as a mom, there's no pressure to be anything more than a mom because mom is the hardest job in the world. I mean, you're acting and standing in the shoes of being a mom right now, and you see firsthand how difficult it is to be everywhere all at once. Yeah. And just not only take care of yourself, but multiple people, make sure, are you okay? Is your mental state okay? Is your physical state okay? And it's a lot to be a mom. So I think, quote unquote, just being a mom here is wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And where you live, it's it's not Nashville.
It's the country.
Yeah, but out that way, it's like the best, because I have like other friends that live out there, and it is the best group of people.
It is.
Like everyone gets together,
Yep.
you have dinner, you let your kids run around.
Yeah. Everyone brings their kids everywhere.
Yes.
Which I love, because like I'm a ride or die for my family. We have a little bit, maybe it's a little toxic in a way, a healthy toxic love, but like I like to be around my kids. I like to be around my husband. So
Well, I mean, I would hope so.
right? You'd hope so. But it makes it easier when people say, yeah, bring the whole family. It's not like, fuck, I gotta get a sitter. Can I swear here?
Yeah, you can. No, trust me, you can. As long as it's like, we're good. We're past like the first 3 minutes, I think. YouTube like bans it. And then we're good.
Okay.
So.
I'll try my best. But yeah, it's just easier when people invite the whole family over and kids all cancel each other out and have fun.
Yeah, because I remember being in LA. It's like a lot of, and not to say everyone's this way, but a lot of kids are raised by nannies.
Yes.
And events you go to, it's like, all right, no kids allowed, no this, no that. And it's like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do with my kid?
Yeah, and it's
like,
my whole life. And
exactly.
I'm not okay, I kept it gangster. I never had a nanny personally. I've had date night sitters.
Yes.
I am so fortunate that I have an incredible mother-in-law and father-in-law who help us if we want to go on vacation or spend some time together without kids. But I've kept it pretty gangster. I love being around my kids. So I found it difficult because I felt like I had almost 2 personalities when I was in LA, because people saw me dressed up, glammed up with a cocktail in my hand and a cute outfit, which is not who I am. Like, I wasn't pretending, but it was fun to get dressed up and go to these events and whatnot. But that's not who I am. 99.99% of the time, I'm in a sweatsuit and no makeup and a dirty ponytail and with tennis shoes and running around after my kids who are in headlocks and like throwing their heads in walls, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's my real life. So I almost felt like my people in LA who I still love and like I'm still close with, they just never got to see that side of who I really am, you know? So here I have friendships where they see me more so as the mom in sweatpants than the girl that's glammed up.
And it gives you, I feel like when people see you that way, you look, like you were kind of saying, you look at motherhood totally different.
Yeah.
Like in LA, motherhood can feel like a job.
Yes.
And granted, motherhood is a job, doesn't matter where you live,
Yeah.
whatever. But it feels more of like a job that
Yes.
drains you
Yeah.
versus a job that fulfills you.
Yeah.
And that can be taken however people want to take it. But when you have all these outside
noise.
things,
Yeah. I mean, I've really embraced like my feminine era here. I'm cooking more. I'm present more. I mean, I know this sounds silly, but it is. My husband's like, I'm so proud of you, because he's definitely the cook in the house. But I'm just spending so much more time with my kids, and it's been like not sound cheesy, but it really does go by so fast. I mean, my 8-year-old's wearing a chain, you know, I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah. So
is
how old are
happening?
your kids?
So Jackson, my little stud, is 8.5. Conway's about to be 7. He's about to lose a tooth. He's like, he wants to be Elon Musk when he grows up. He's my creative. He does jujitsu. He likes STEM lab, and like, he wants to be a DJ / build rockets / like be an architect engineer. He's that guy.
That's amazing.
He's the kid that like might solve cancer. He's like so strange and so incredible at the same time. And
I love that.
Yes. And then Jackson's like, what college am I going to go to? Like, what's the number 1 seed? Like, how do I get a scholarship? Like, he wants to homeschool because he wants to train all day.
Oh, when you posted the video on Instagram the other day of him, I guess you guys watched like a video.
We watched King Richard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And about like training or something. And he's outside like training himself.
In the rain. Yeah. In the rain. I look outside because we have a kitchen window that goes to outside of the backyard. I'm like, and I go, Tyler, oh my gosh. And he's doing like high knees. He's training. He's stretching. He's doing lunges in the rain. And he's 8 years old. We had just watched King Richard. It's about Venus and Serena Williams.
Yes.
And it's all about from a dad's perspective, a parent's perspective. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. That's when Will Smith got Best Actor and slapped what's his name, Chris Rock. Yeah. So yeah, it's an amazing movie.
But I also love that he watched that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, he loved it.
I feel like you monitor a lot.
Yes,
what
I
they
do.
consume.
I do. And sometimes those movies might be PG-13, but the message is there, and I've already seen it. And like right now we're going through all the Karate Kids. So like last night we talked about home bases, breathing, breathe in, breathe out, focus on what you can control. So it's like there's lessons in these movies, and I'm a 90s baby. So we watch 80s and 90s movies strictly. Like
That's
none of this
amazing.
new stuff. They don't, and same with music. Jackson fully believes NSYNC is at the top of the charts right now. Like 100%.
Well, there's this like super brilliant kid on TikTok. There's this woman, and she married this very well-to-do man, and her son is like brilliant, can name you. They were doing like flashcards, and it was of every country's flag.
It's incredible.
And he was spitting them off, like, and I think he's like 5-6 years old.
That's amazing.
And knows every single country, spitting it all off. And she spoke about like monitoring what your child consumes, and how she goes on YouTube and she blocks Mr. Beast and like all these things that are like, oh, watch me destroy a car for $1 million.
Or unwrap toys. I'm like, that's how we're spending. Like, my kids do not watch it.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to preach or say I'm better than you.
No, not at all. Because I'm
right.
guilty of, like, with Chloe, I mean, granted, I'm guilty of it. Like, they like to go on YouTube and watch all these things. But I'm starting to realize also, too, it's not like I had Chloe or, you know, I was handed her as a preteen girl. But I think from such a young age, monitoring what your kid watches.
Absolutely.
And that they're watching, whether it's NASA stuff or just National Geographic. Like things that will educate them instead of them thinking, oh, this is cool to ruin $1 million car.
Well, it's kind of like this like old movie called Idiocracy. Like, you're kind of dumbing your brain and it's just becoming like, bleh, like, what are you watching? What are you consuming? So we don't do YouTube personally because I'm like, you know what? It's too much for me to block and monitor and deal with. So we're just going to, then the ads are, I'm like, what? My child is 8 years old and should not be seeing these types of ads. It's weird to me. That's a whole other rabbit hole, but we don't need to push certain things on children who are 6 and 8 years old. My job is to prepare my children and make sure they're educated, but also protect them in their innocence for as long as possible.
If you've been listening to Unlocked, you will see that I have taken Nutrafol for years. My hair journey is nothing less than exciting, and Nutrafol has been there every step of the way. And I've seen improved hair growth, decreased shedding, visible thickness, you name it, I have seen it with Nutrafol. The holiday season is here, and it's bringing joy and excitement, but also longer to-do lists, endless parties, stressful travel, and seasonal colds. What you might not realize is that all of these things can take a toll on your hair health. Adding Nutrafol to your daily routine can now help improve your hair health heading into the new year. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1 million people. You can see thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. I also love that it's physician formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients. While many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests final formulations to ensure their efficacy. In a clinical study, 86% of women reported hair growth after taking Nutrafol Women Hair Growth Supplement for 6 months. Building a hair growth routine can actually be pretty simple. Purchase online, no subscription required, automated deliveries, and free shipping can help keep you on track. Plus, with a Nutrafol subscription, you can save up to 20%. The cold, dry air of winter can be unforgiving, but your hair doesn't have to suffer. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code UNLOCKED. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code UNLOCKED. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code UNLOCKED. Well, and I love that you said that of like pushing kids at a young age and trying to influence them, because it kind of leads into these.
Yes.
Because, well, first off, guys, so the reason I said about the making America healthy and all these things was because SuperTrue is Kristen's brand that she's coming out with. And it is, I'm so excited. I'm going to try them towards the end.
Yes.
But she just got these in. And when she was telling me about them in DC, she was so excited, so passionate about it. And I'm just obsessed with all of it.
Yeah, so I'm so excited. So this started 2 years ago, literally November 2022. I was pregnant with Nala. I forgot to mention Nala.
Yeah, I know.
Nala, how could I forget Nala? She's just the apple of our eye.
She's the sweetest.
She's a dangerous little baby because she makes you want to have like 20 kids. She's amazing.
Who knows? She may not be done yet.
Yeah, we'll see. I told myself I'd give myself to the end of the year. Yesterday, I was really getting the itch. I'm like, let's just put a baby in me, baby. So, and if you see my husband, I mean, we're 3 for 3. Like, it's easy to get pregnant around that guy. So anyway, I was pregnant with Nala and started this, and it takes a little longer because we were doing a cross country move. I was pregnant. I was doing the podcast. I was doing so many things. But it was really important for me to understand every aspect of the business. I mean, this is essentially my 4th child. So I needed to understand legal. I needed to understand regulations and what's in the bar itself. Because that's the whole point of this, is to make sure I'm putting out a healthy, nutritious, but tasteful product. So yeah, we're finally seeing the fruits of our labor. And so we've got these little characters for the kids. It was really important for me, one, to make sure there is no seed oils. I think, to take a step back, I think with parents, no one is trying to poison their kids. No, everyone's intentions are good. I think it just comes down to lack of education. And for me, I always thought I was being healthy. I'm like, I'm an athlete. I played sports. I work out. I eat a salad. So I'm healthy. Yeah. It says good source of protein on the label. So it's obviously good. Not realizing there's ingredients on there that are majorly causing inflammation, which is hurting my gut, which is hurting my anxiety or depression or whatever you're dealing with. Like, everything comes down to the food, for whatever age you are. It's that quote, like, what is it? Let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. So I always check myself of how am I feeling? What did I eat that day? And it goes the same with our kids. And I don't think any parent out there is being malicious, but in COVID for me, I really started to question everything. I think all of us did on some level.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And I can't say certain words, but I was questioning them.
Yeah.
And I think that opened up a whole Pandora's box, for better or for worse. It really is a rabbit hole of what's happened to our food over the years, because it wasn't like this 50 years ago.
Oh, no, you can look. There are on Netflix, there are documentaries that you can watch, and it dives deep into all of it. And if you go down the rabbit hole, I've spoken about it before, of like, granted, people know I love my sodas. Like,
yes.
There's just no turning back from that. Like,
can I tell you something?
What?
So I came in today and I have a challenge for you.
What?
And I'm going to put you on blast. I want you to do no soda for 30 days.
Oh my God. Y'all, I may die.
I think you can do it. I think you can do it. I know you can do it.
That may be like my New Year's resolution. Like, start at the new year.
Yeah. Holidays are tough.
Yeah, let me get through the holidays, and then I'm going to try it.
Okay.
But when you actually look into it and you listen to podcasts and you hear people who are very educated on it, like one of the Coca-Cola, one of their biggest like donors is like the Diabetes Association.
Yes, because they want
to fund Coca-Cola, so that, because they know that the excess in sugar can lead to diabetes.
Exactly.
So you look into all these crazy things, and
it's not a conspiracy.
No.
It's happening. And at the highest level, just to speak in layman's terms, is they want to keep you fat, sick, poor, infertile, because then they have a solution to sell you. Unfortunately, where we're at in 2024 with our nation is we are being reactive in our healthcare. We're not being proactive.
Yes.
And so to dumb everything down, because I'm not, Callie and Casey means, who I love, respect, follow them. They're sharing so much incredible information. If you want to learn more about this, I highly suggest following them. They changed the game for me. And I interviewed Callie. I just told someone I claim him first, because I interviewed him a long time ago, over a year ago. And I was sitting there listening to him spit out all these facts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is an attack on our children. It really is. And I had this idea, and it shifted to no seed oils because of him. And
so tell us about the seed oil aspect.
From just super high level, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a mom who wants it to be better. These oils, these ultra processed oils, are causing inflammation in our bodies. Inflammation is the root of all disease. So that's the really simple, high level way to look at it. And think of a bad cell, you're going to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So it was important for me to create a product that parents could trust. They know when they go to the store, when they buy this from the website, I trust it. There's no toxic seed oils, and there's clean ingredients, no dyes.
Look at the back of the box, I mean, you can say every ingredient that's in it.
Yes,
like
that
you
was
can
important.
Pronounce every ingredient that's in it. You don't see gum stuff. You don't see like all the crap.
Anything with ends with an 8, you're just like, why is that in there?
Exactly.
And that's a good rule of thumb too that I learned was and not just with my product, any food, is if you can't, one, turn around to the ingredients. If you can't pronounce it, put it back. So it was important for me to put real food in here that's going to make kids feel good, give them the right type of energy, not crack them out so they crash and burn and are assholes to you.
Yes, without a doubt. Because when we were talking about kind of the ads and influencing children, and obviously, you know, the whole thing that's gone on with Kellogg's recently, which is huge. Granted, I'm guilty of it too. Like, we all love good cereal. We love the sugary stuff, but there have been over, I think it's like 400,000 petitions signed, and they were dropped off at Kellogg's doors at their headquarters. People were ringing the doorbell, wanting to speak to someone at Kellogg's, and they put like a sign on the glass window that was like, go away. And the reason people are, you know, signing these petitions is because of all the harmful dyes that are in the cereals. And they're red dye. They're red dye for children that have ADHD, cause them to go haywire. I mean, red dye can do so many crazy different things to your body.
And it's not just physically. Like right now, heart disease is the #1 cause of death. And I think it's 1 in 2 people suffer are pre-diabetic or diabetic. That's alarming. 1 in 2 people at this rate are going to get cancer. 1 in 3 women are on SSRIs. We're dealing with infertility. We're dealing with...
infertility is at an all-time high.
With both men and women. I mean...
Men, it was for the first time in history that sperm count decreased like by an astronomical amount.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy what's happening right now. And so for me, I'm just a mom. And like you said, like we all enjoy our vices. And I'm not saying... no seed oils, no sugar, never, and you can't breathe air.
Well, it's like when we were talking in DC. That's exactly what you said. You were like, I let my kids be kids. Like, sure, if you want ice cream or this or like...
just not every day.
No. And when you start to educate yourself on what is in stuff... it's like, whoa, I didn't realize it could be that harmful. I mean, overseas, they don't have the same cereal.
And that's my thing. And the
biggest argument.
Yes. It's like, why?
Why do they deserve it, but we don't?
And we do deserve it, but it seems now that it's intentional. We're America. We're arguably the smartest, most technologically, scientifically advanced nation. So if these other countries can do it, we can do it too. Snap of a fingers. Why are you fighting it, Kellogg?
So Kellogg, what they said was they did a study and children were more inclined to eat the brighter colored cereal than the other one.
Yes, it all comes down to money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So again, influencing children, they're more inclined to eat it because it's brighter red. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but if all they have is what's in front of them, that's what they're going to eat.
Have you seen that video of the kid when they gave him like $10,000 cash and an Oreo and he chose the Oreo?
No.
Yes, but that's how brains of a 5, 6, 7-year-old think. Yeah. They don't think that there's $10,000 right now. They just see an Oreo. So why are we giving the trust into young children on their health?
It's our responsibility.
It's our responsibility as parents
to keep them healthy.
Yes, absolutely. And I always say pissed off moms are going to make the change. And
without a doubt.
Yeah. And like not to get too political because the MAHA movement it should not be a political issue. I think all of us should strive to have our children happy and healthy and to live long, happy, healthy lives. And so I think the moms, the ones who are, petitioning at Kellogg's, the ones like me who are creating their own companies because they're too pissed off at the grocery stores and other brands. Oh yeah. It's the pissed off moms that are going to make the change.
I want to look it up. This episode of Unlocked is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep. While you're listening to me talk, you're probably also driving, cleaning, exercising, or maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you can be doing right now. Getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy and you could save money by doing it right from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $750 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and more. So just like your favorite podcast, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you're protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June of 2022 and May of 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. The adverse effects of red dye.
Oh, God.
So, and even, which I didn't know. So I had friends who were in Italy for like 2 weeks, and they were talking about how they ate like all the pasta in the world and they like would get full, but not like, you know how here in the US we eat and we're like, oh, we feel like garbage.
In a fetal position.
Yes. Yeah. Or they were talking about Aperol Spritz, which I love Aperol Spritz. But they showed me and they were like, it tastes so much better there. And you look on the back, they do not have the harmful red dye that ours has here. So it says it can have red 40, a synthetic food dye, can have a number of adverse effects, including behavioral changes. Red 40 can increase hyperactivity, irritability, and depression in children, especially those with ADHD. It can cause allergic reactions, gut health, actually can cause DNA damage.
Yeah,
like,
it's alarming. And it's sad and pisses me off as a mom because you read that and you're like, no brainer. Obviously we should ban this. Obviously we should ban ingredients like this for the sake of our children.
And it's possible because you're doing it in other countries.
Exactly. So that's, I think, why moms are speaking up and influencers are speaking up, and this MAHA movement is gaining so much momentum because they see it's possible, and you're intentionally leaving it there to harm our children who don't know any better. The same children who would choose an Oreo over $10,000 cash. So
but even when I just read that, because it was saying it's in Doritos.
Yeah. Oh, it's in everything.
And Skittles, like things that we eat in my house. Now I'm like, all right, I want to educate myself more and take this stuff out.
Yeah.
Because is it worth it?
And it seems fine now. And again, going back to what our conversation in DC, it's like 80-20, like live a little. You don't need to be crazy. I also think for moms, like I always try to give my kids a why behind the what. Like I'm giving you this SuperTrue bar instead of another brand bar because this has no dyes, and dyes make you a little crazy and that could hurt your brain. Or, hey, this bar has 6 grams of protein. This does not have any protein at all. And I want to make sure that you can get big, strong muscles, that you can be a professional baseball player. So making sure I'm educating them along the way, because it all really comes down to education.
Well, and there's a lack of education.
There's a lack, and they're not teaching this in schools.
No, they're
so it's
not.
up to me.
And when you look at the data, and you look at certain from, socioeconomical statuses and lower income households that may be on food stamps or, whatever it may be, they're being given the lesser... The lesser...
Yes. So Coca-Cola is the #1 product of food stamps.
Yes.
And it goes back to, like you said, it keeps the fat, the sick, the poor. It's a sick cycle where they consistently need government assistance.
Yes.
So it keeps them in their box. It keeps them controlled.
Exactly. And if we can take all these harmful ingredients out of food to where we all have the ability to consume healthy food, you would eliminate so many issues.
And so many people believe the myth that, I don't, I don't have money to eat clean, or I don't have money to eat organic, or I don't have, it's too expensive. It's not. I'll happily give you my grocery list because it's cheaper than the shit of Doritos and Kellogg's and all these other, crap that we give our children, and Coca-Cola. That's a myth. You get some ground beef and some seasoning, bam, $5. You just fed your whole family, So there's ways to do it.
That is a healthier way. But what's so difficult, which I didn't know, because I've said some of those things, but when you have I guess when you're on food stamps, they tell you what brand you have to buy.
Yes, and that pisses me off because
it's just that
you can buy alcohol and cigarettes and Coca-Cola, but you can't buy organic apples, which is, again, why are you doing that? That seems intentional. It seems like you're trying to intentionally keep these people fat, sick, and diabetic and infertile by feeding them this? Why wouldn't you want them to get healthier?
Yeah.
Wouldn't we want this? Why are we excluding the healthy stuff? So everything comes down to it's feeling intentional.
It is.
From food stamps to the kids to the dyes. It's like, why?
To even just like big pharma.
Yeah.
That's why right now, like I'm looking for a Chinese medicine doctor doing acupuncture, because like I'm already, endometriosis, which endometriosis is at like an all-time high.
Yep.
Well, what's endometriosis? What are their triggers? Alcohol, sugar, carbs.
It's a metabolic dysfunction.
Yes. So again, the food that we consume is helping to contribute to it. So if I can look and do it like the ancient Chinese medicine and see if that's a holistic approach.
So that's one of my goals this upcoming year, is to really learn and lean into that, because you look at these blue zones, and then I actually just saw this doctor talk about ancient Chinese medicine in Hong Kong. I think it's the #1 longevity for women, and then I think men are right behind it. They live the longest out of anywhere in the world, and they are broth heavy, protein heavy, herb heavy. Like every season there's a soup for it, there's a broth for it, and they lean into the herbs, and they live for fucking ever.
I want that.
Same.
Let's go to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I've wanted to go.
It's a write-off.
Yeah, it's a write-off. We'll go.
We'll do the research for you guys.
That would be awesome though, to like go and actually record the whole process of.
I'm dying to learn about it, because they literally live forever. Like they're so healthy, and there's other things beyond the food. They're being more active. They have less furniture in the house so that they can, like, simple things, so they can squat up and down. Like they're staying active. They're not sitting on a couch and watching TV for 7 hours a day.
And two, I think I've now become, the older I get, the more of a hypochondriac I become.
Oh yeah.
Like
sure.
I'm freaking out. Like I think I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I think, all these things. And I think a lot of it too is my boyfriend is 12 years older than me. And I'm like, oh my God, you're about to be 40. And his dad has dementia, he got it very early on, and like in his 60s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like we got to do something.
So interestingly enough, I just listened to a Joe Rogan podcast with Kelly Means. He was talking about dementia is at an all-time high, and it's also metabolic dysfunction. And now they have, they call it type 3 diabetes, which is early set on dementia.
Yes.
So it's all connected back to our food. So if we can control our food, we can have some level of, crap happens, shit happens. Yeah. And I'm not saying,
you'll eat McDonald's. Like if you're hungover.
I won't eat McDonald's. I don't fuck with McDonald's, but I'm like, just shit happens. Like sometimes no one's like, oh, I ate McDonald's and now I have breast cancer. Like no one asked for these things.
Yeah.
But if we can start early on, especially with our children, and just teach them to make better choices, like it all adds up in the best way possible. If we can help our kids, the earlier the better. And if you're 30 years old listening, it's great. You can start now too. It's not too late.
Yeah, because I'm about to start jumping on this train.
Do it.
I am getting I'm just so worried. I think I'm going to like wake up. Well, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow dead.
Yeah.
Because clearly wouldn't wake up, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. But like things happen.
Where
and it's
would you
scary.
tell people who are listening that are like, all right, where do I start?
Okay, so if you're like me and you just want to listen because I have bad eyes and I can't like physically read a book, I follow very closely Callie and Casey Means. You've heard me reference them a couple times now. What I love about them is that they speak with facts, stats, studies. However, they'll also let you know where these studies came from, because look, whether it's politics or health or whatever it may be, if you're looking for it, you'll find it, especially in the health and pharmaceutical field. You might see, oh, this doctor might have their degree, but, oh, they're part of this board who pays them. Oh, the big pharma pays them. That's why they wrote that study. So, of course, they're going to write a study that profits. You will always find something that goes along with the narrative you want it to go along with. Exactly. So I like Casey and Callie because they point that out for better or for worse. So I would personally follow them. They're everywhere right now. They just put out a book, Good Energy. They're on every podcast you can think of. Highly educational. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. I like to listen to podcasts. He brings up on a wide variety of people, not just talking about food and health, but also just like long life, crazy experiences, how people overcame trauma. Like there's so many things beyond food trauma affects us and our mental health.
Yes.
So, experimental, maybe drugs that are therapeutic. Like there's not saying you need to go take LSD, but if that's your thing, I fully support you. But I like, that's like my jam for sure.
And so with that, also being a mom of 3 and all the education you've done, starting this brand, you've done plenty of other things. How do you deal with that mom guilt
Of
feeling like, there are times you have to miss out on things
yes.
to do something that's really important for your career?
Yeah. So whenever I leave my kids, I let them know why I'm leaving. So, but even with the food, I always explain a why to the what. So if I'm leaving or my husband's leaving on a work trip, hey, Mommy's going to go to DC right now and she's going to be around incredible people like Savannah Chrisley, and they're going to come together. They're going to talk about really important topics that are going to make the world a better place that's safer for you and your brother and sister. And when I get back, I can't wait to tell you all about it. And I'm going to FaceTime you when I get there, and I'll FaceTime them and I'll show them where I'm at. I'll show them what I did today. I'll show them like my outfits, because whenever I put makeup on, they're like, oh my gosh, where are you going, mama? So I just try to include them as much as possible and teach them at an 8-year-old level, what's happening what's going on in the world.
I love that, because I feel like a lot of parents don't do that. They just, and it's not an intentional thing. It's just being so busy that it's like, all right, I've got to leave. I got to go do this.
And all they know is mom's gone.
Yeah.
And that I think is more traumatic for a child than knowing my mom. Like, I was on Fox News the other night. It was so fun. And this van came up to the house so I could record. And they were outside the van. I showed them inside. I put on the TV for them so they could watch me live. And then when I opened the door, because it's like a 5-10 minute thing, I opened the door and I go, I did it. And they're like, Mama did it. That was so good. So they saw me work.
Well, they see you changing the world and seeing like you can be a mom. Yeah. You can show up for them. And not only are you showing up as a mom, but you're showing up in another world that maybe their kids won't have to go through certain things because you sacrifice time.
And I think it's important, when you're not around, yes, explaining why, but also when you are around, include them too. I noticed this from a friend of ours who's older. His kid was at the time, I think 16, and we're talking about the stock market at the time. And he turns to his kid, we're around like a fire pit after dinner, and he goes, all right, Rhett, what do you think? I'm like, never have I ever, when I was 16, someone asked me what I think about the stock market. Like, what? That's such an adult conversation. But literally in that moment, Tyler and I looked at each other like, whoa, that was really cool. We should start doing that as parents. We look at other parents that we respect and we take notes. And I think that goes the same for any aspect in life. Like, I'm not going to ask a poor person how to make money, but I'm going to see a fit person at the gym and say, how do I get abs? So don't let a blind person tell you how something looks. And on the flip side, if you see a parent doing something you really respect, like, I take notes. So I try to ask my kids, they fully watched the election. They fully know what's happening in our current health system. And I ask them their thoughts. And so for better or for worse, I do speak to them like adults. I don't baby them. I don't talk to them like this. I give them love that a child needs, but I speak to them to prepare them for the real world at the same time.
Yeah, I see that too, like with my Grayson. Like, he's going with me tomorrow and Friday. I love that. And it's where he's going, to once in a lifetime opportunity, but he's going to be sitting in on meetings with policymakers and discussions and governors and senators. And like, at 18,
so cool.
I mean, he hasn't even hit college yet.
So cool.
And for him to be able to sit and learn, you learn from life experience. And he is one of the most brilliant kids. Like, he follows the stock market, he follows the election, he follows all these things. And I feel like it's so important. As much as you want to protect your children, unfortunately, you have to teach them before the world teaches them.
100%. I couldn't agree. I think it's important to protect them, but not shelter them. Yeah.
And so we hit on the healthy topic, the mom topic, now the wife topic.
Oh, okay.
But you and I, well, it's funny. When we landed in DC, we had a conversation just about relationships in general and your spouse, and how some spouses go and tell gossip and groups and people how terrible their spouse is, or how they're not having enough sex with their spouse, or like all these things, because we've both been in rooms to where we've heard it and we're like, well, why are you telling people this?
Yeah. And also, it doesn't just make your husband look bad. It makes you look like an asshole.
Yes.
Like, you're the asshole who's with the asshole. So what does that say about you? You know, like, I'm supposed to trust your judgment.
Yes. And what would you say is like the key to success for you and your marriage?
I fully believe marrying my husband was the best choice I've ever made in my life. Like, choosing the right partner is the greatest thing you'll ever do. He has supported me in anything I've ever wanted to go after. He is like, do it, go, I got it. If I get an opportunity to go to DC tomorrow, he's like, I got the kids, but you have me, I'll figure it out. Like, it's no questions asked support. So I think for me, like, that was the most attractive thing beyond his beautiful good looks and dimples.
They're the most gorgeous couple known to man.
He's incredible. I can't speak highly enough of him. And I know he does the same for me. And I think that's important. And not to say like we're perfect and we haven't had any ups and downs or issues, or he doesn't annoy me sometimes, but I'm not talking on the podcast about it.
Yeah, no.
When I have an issue with my husband, I go and talk to my husband about it, and we solve it right then and there. I don't let it linger. If there's any energy in the air, we figure it out and we make time, and then we make sure we close that book and it's never brought up again. So
would you say it's been hard in the world that you were in, obviously with the podcast, Hollywood, as a businesswoman, you have to be tougher.
Yes.
You have to be tougher, especially in Hollywood, or else you will get run all over. You will get used. You will have a lot of false promises. So you have to be tough in that aspect. Would you say did it take you time to find that like femininity in your marriage? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think, well, yeah, because I am such a go-getter and an A-type in that sense, which could be perceived as alpha. But I truly believe when you're with a real deal alpha, they will bring out that femininity in you. I am more feminine because of my alpha husband. And by the way, he is a calm, cool, collected, walks into a room without saying a word.
Yes.
And you're like, that guy could kill someone. And it's
Without a
like,
doubt.
oh my God, I love it. So he's not, like, he's not cocky, but he's got a cool Navy SEAL style about him. And I love it.
But what you just said, I think as a woman, at times we have to be the alpha because we have no other choice but to be the alpha. And then men are like, oh, well, she's not this, she's not that. And I'm sorry, but if you're doing your job as a man, then I wouldn't feel a need to be on such.
Yes. Because the real alpha is going to bring that feminine side, and they're going to embrace those things. Like, I'm like, my husband's still the alpha, even though I'm still here at this podcast, even though I'm running a business, even though I'm doing these things. That doesn't make him not an alpha, because he's secure in who he is and where he lies in this relationship. If a man is coming after you and saying you're too alpha, you're too this, then he's not a real alpha.
No.
He's a little bitch.
Exactly.
And you don't want to be with him anyway.
No. You need to move on.
Yeah.
You were a good lesson.
Yeah.
You were a good lesson.
Thank you. But next.
No, but you're so right. Like, I've realized that when you're with someone that does what they need to do, doesn't have to be asked, doesn't, and knows like, all right, I'm going to step up, then you're like, oh, wait, I don't have to be so out there.
Exactly.
It's the best feeling.
It's a calming feeling for sure.
You're like a rock star in all sense. Literally, like mom, wife, friend, business owner. Okay, first off, how many different flavors?
Okay, so we have 2 flavors. We have batter up. So this is chocolate brownie batter. When I tasted this, it reminded me of being like 8 years old and licking the brownie bowl after. Like when you make brownies with your mom and you get the spoon.
Yes.
That's what this one tastes like.
Okay. And this one is
peanut butter banana
monkey.
Chocolate. Yes. It's so, I just think, okay, so Elvis Presley is like an icon in our household. We're all obsessed with him. We listen to his music every night. And he has like this famous sandwich he does. It's peanut butter, banana, honey, and bacon. As much as I wanted to put bacon in there, we held off.
Yeah,
I thought that would be a little too niche. So we made a similar concoction, ode to Elvis. My kids are obsessed with it. And so we made that. My kids did all the taste testing. We did a couple of samples. I handed out to like the kids in our Little League team because they are my true focus group.
They are.
Yeah. So because that was a big, and they would tell me, I was like, be honest, Luke. And he'd be like, I don't like the peanuts in it or whatever. I'm like, great. Then we'll take the peanuts out.
Yes.
And so we did a few tests with children, and this is what we came up with.
This is awesome. And too, only 160 calories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's a trainer I use, and I want to say he said that like stay under 200 calories for a protein bar.
So that was my thing. So under 200 calories for protein bar. And then also like kind of my rule of thumb for any moms listening or anyone, sugar. Okay, yes, of course, we would love to have a life where there's no sugar, but that's just not reality to live this perfect life. We don't have chefs at home cooking for us. So my rule of thumb is keep it under 10.
Yeah.
Keep it under 10 grams of sugar, whether it's SuperTrue.
4 grams. Yep, 4 grams of sugar.
Yep, 4 grams of sugar, which is, by the way, this is from stevia extract, so it's a natural.
These are awesome.
Yeah, so you have to taste it.
No, I'm trying it. I'm like, I will tell you.
Okay.
Oh, dude, these are...
Do you like it?
These are good. It really does taste.
It's good.
Like a brownie.
It tastes like brownie, right? It like melts in your mouth.
These are really good.
Yeah. So I like them. I eat them. I had one right before you came in. So yeah, I'm excited. Kids are stoked.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So where can people go to find them?
Okay, so you can go to supertruekids.com. They're sold on our website right now. Next will be Amazon in the new year. You can follow us at SuperTrue on Instagram.
And where do they follow you?
You can follow me at Kristen Llewell. And so on all social media. And then also if you go to kristenlewell.com or the link in my bio, you can sign up for my weekly newsletter. It's Girl Get It Done. Every week I'm in your inbox telling you what a bad bitch you are. And
love it.
And like you can go do anything you want in this life, be with anyone you want, be whoever you want to be. No excuses. That's really the theme. No excuses, create your dream life. And then I kind of just give you tips and tricks I've learned along the way.
Well, I'm really excited for you, and I'm so excited to go and order these because these are not just for kids; they're for us too.
So good, Mom.
I will be eating these.
Yeah,
because my biggest thing with like adult protein bars is they taste chalky.
Well, that was my thing because like I needed kids to like it.
Yeah,
and everything tastes like cardboard.
Yeah, it was
it's
terrible.
Not good. And the ones that are good are full of those shit ingredients we're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find a healthy medium that parents could trust, but also kids loved.
Okay, well, I'm probably going to be your number one purchaser. So,
I love you.
Well, I love you. Thank you. I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you, girl.
Guys,
you're crushing it.
SuperTrue. And by the time this podcast comes out, they'll be out.
I know, so hurry.
I know, hurry up because we'll make sure we put this out try to put it out right after they come out.
Yeah.
So you don't miss out because there's a big chance you may miss out because she has a lot of friends who love her and support her and they will be posting about it.
I love you.
So I bet it's going to go quick, but I love you.
I love you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.